Alrighty, everyone, this is meteorologist Timmy Albertson with you for tonight's weather chat with Timmy. Alrighty, we got ourselves kind of an interesting one. We're going to take a look at some storms out across parts of Wyoming and Nebraska this evening, as well as our latest tropical system. This is Tropical Storm Ophelia. However, it is going to be somewhat short-lived. We'll come back to that here in just a few moments. On a side note, for those of you who are subscribed to our YouTube page here, we have two YouTube pages at AWSC. One of them has a thunderstorm banner, the other one has a snowfall map banner. If you are subscribed to the one with the thunderstorm banner, well, there's a little bit of a problem with that, and that is that beginning October 2nd, we're not going to be posting the weather chat videos to that channel anymore. We're going to be posting them to the one with the snowfall banner. How do you find the one with the snowfall banner? Type in awsc.live, and that'll take you all the way to this YouTube page. Again, there's that snowfall banner. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to that because, like I said, on October 2nd, we're no longer going to be posting the weather chats videos on that page. We're going to be posting them to the page that you see right here. So make sure that you subscribe to that. All righty, one more time. AWSC, there we go, AWSC.live. All right, let's go ahead and take a look over at the tropics, everyone. And this is Ophelia. Tropical storm Ophelia, 70-mile-an-hour winds, not too far off the Carolina coast. It is moving to the northwest, and it will likely be making a landfall later on tonight, probably around 2 a.m. or so off the Outer Banks. It's then going to meander its way into upstate North Carolina, going into parts of Virginia as we head into the day tomorrow, especially going into tomorrow evening, and then it'll transition back into a non-tropical system. Not the strongest system, but still one nonetheless. You can see it on the visible on the infrared satellite imagery below me. It does have a little bit of that swirl there you can kind of see, but again, does not have much time left to it. Will it maybe intensify a little bit more? It's possible, but folks, it's going to be making a landfall probably in about 6 hours, so it doesn't really have too much time to really do much. Ironically, I do remember years ago, this probably would have been 2005, there was a Hurricane Ophelia that ironically went up the East Coast, off the Carolina coast. Now, for those of you who know, as heard we talk about before, the names are not random. They're chosen ahead of time. We have a whole list, and it alternates every 6 years. So the same list will come back after 6 years. If the hurricane doesn't do anything, or the tropical system doesn't do anything of note, its name is not retired. And so the name just gets reused. If it does something of note, like Katrina, Wilma, Andrew, Charlie, all those names are retired. That will not be used again. It makes things easier when you talk about the systems in the past tense. So every 6 years the list repeats, and it looks like Ophelia is back. So with that in mind, that is a look. There's a tropical storm wind field, or the tropical storm force wind field. There we go. I knew it didn't sound right when I said it first time. Again, it is actually kind of contracted a little bit, and that's because Ophelia has intensified as the day has gone on. So its wind field is not quite as wide. But again, like I said, it's going to be hitting land here pretty soon. What's it mainly going to be bringing, folks? Tropical storm conditions. Maybe some locally high waves, some gusty winds, especially up along the beaches. And there'll be some breezy conditions inland. Again, does kind of have a broad wind field, and it is already up on the coast. So it'll probably be a breezy night across eastern North Carolina and parts of Virginia. And as we go into the day tomorrow, that will also be the case. Now, if we flip over to the radar here, we'll take a little bit of a look here at Ophelia and what she's doing in terms of rain. And we'll go ahead and flip it over to the radar here. Again, producing some rain across eastern North Carolina and parts of eastern Virginia. That's kind of the general trend here. As we go through the overnight tonight, that's going to kind of continue to be the case, and even as we go into the day tomorrow. So there are some football games that are going to be around this area tomorrow, so it'll be kind of interesting to see, watch a football game and a tropical storm at the same time. Why not? But folks, Ophelia will be weakening as she makes her way inland, eventually transitioning into a non-tropical low. They'll then just kind of get absorbed in and make its way out. So it will be a rainy weekend in those areas, but again, we're not talking, like Adelia or, certainly like Hurricane Andrew back in '92. This is just certainly going to be some breezy conditions and a little bit in the way of some rainfall. So it will be interesting, though, to keep an eye on tomorrow. And sometimes with these landfalling tropical systems, too, I mean, there is a lot of low-level wind shearing going on, so sometimes they do produce some strong storms. So There is going to be the possibility, there will probably be the possibility for that, not only tonight, but also into the day tomorrow, maybe some scattered strong storms here and there. So yeah, pretty interesting nonetheless. Again, this one just kind of fired up really quickly, and we were watching some activity down around that area, but it was still attached to some fronts and everything, and now it looks like it has separated itself from those fronts, and it's now a full tropical system. But probably won't be lasting very long at all since it's going to be making landfall in a few hours. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit here. And actually, you know what? Let's take a look here at the latest weather map here. We'll start off with the upper level map here. And again, there's our upper level low. We were taking a look at this the other day. It's now made its way pretty much centered right over Yellowstone. As we go our way through the rest of the weekend, we're going to watch as that upper level low kind of continues to make its way gradually to the east. It'll be over the Dakotas as we go into the second half of the weekend before it then moves into Manitoba and becomes more absorbed into a broader upper level trough that will be across, off the coast, off the Pacific coast of Canada and the Pacific Northwest of the U.S. In the meantime, a little bit of ridging will probably be happening as we go in towards the end of the weekend and into the beginning part of next week. So we'll probably be seeing some quieter weather, relatively speaking, across the central part of the U.S. And I say relatively speaking because there's some other factors going on here. But over the next couple of days still, it's going to be somewhat of, scattered showers and even some thunderstorms out across that area as that upper level low passes right over. And not only that, but if we took a look here, again, at the weather map, we see we have this little bit of a little bit kind of a jet streak, I guess we could call it that. Anyways, long story short, where we see those winds kind of taper down a little bit, sometimes is a good location where we sometimes do see some thunderstorm development happening. Again, we'll talk more about this, folks, in the wintertime. When this is much more pronounced, this will make a lot more sense in the wintertime. But again, we kind of watch this area right here when it does come to producing the possibility for some strong storms. This is called the right exit region of it. Again, just throwing out terms there for you so you don't hear them the first time when we talk about them later on later on in fall and also into winter. So let's take a look here. We're going to take a quick little look over here at, we'll come back to this storm over here in Cedar Rapids. That's got a tornado warning on it. So we'll take a little bit of a look at that. But anyways, right where we have that exit region, check it out. Got ourselves a severe thunderstorm watch. We even got a few little strong thunderstorms to take a look at. Let's go ahead and flip over the radar here. For those of you wondering, we are looking way out into western Nebraska, Alliance, Chardon. Here's the Wyoming border. Again, little severe thunderstorm watch that is there, and this is mainly just for hail. Like the other night when we were taking a look at those, hailstorms out across parts of Texas and Oklahoma. Well, these storms are kind of similar nature. This little guy down here doesn't look like much, but produced about 1 3/4 size inch hail. That's pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and take over. I want to go over to Cedar Rapids here. I want to take a look at this little tornado warning that we got here. I think it's close enough to the Davenport radar. Let's see what this little guy's doing here. So it has the tornado warning that is in effect for it. Let's see here. It is actually an observed tornado. Hey, look at that. All right, let's take a look here. Let's see what we got. I'm wondering if it's a gust NATO, but let's take a look here at it. Got the VILs on. Let's go ahead and flip over to our velocity here. Now, for those of you who wonder what the velocity radar imagery is, it is what we use to look for in rotation of a thunderstorm. It's also what we use to look at the winds. So green's our winds going towards the radar, and I'm blocking it. Let me go ahead and move myself here so that you can see what I'm talking about. So in the way the velocity radar imagery works, and for those of you who already know, this is just a repeat of the information that I probably told you already about a million times, but reds are winds going away from the radar site, greens are winds going towards the radar site, where we see them kind of right up against each other in high values. It's a very good indication that there's some rotation here. So I'm going to loop this radar imagery here because it doesn't look like there's too much of a signature right now. Not to say that there's nothing happening here. I just want to see here. Oh, yeah, right there. All right, so if we kind of zoom this in a little bit here, we'll let it loop through here one more time. You're going to kind of see a little bit of a signature here, and obviously from the warning right there. See that little notch little notch right there in that thunderstorm here. So let's go ahead and see if this thing is still possibly on the ground. Now, again, it is observed. So I'm going to show you another cool radar imagery here, and that is something called the correlation coefficient. Now, in terms of radar, radar history, this is actually kind of a relatively new product. I mean, relatively speaking, in the past, 10, 15 years. But anyways, let's go ahead here, and what we're going to take a look at is something called the correlation coefficient. So what is that? All right, well, the radar is dual pole. It's measuring kind of the size of the object. Rain. You're in a thunderstorm. Most of the raindrops are the same size. Okay? But when you start picking up debris, all of a sudden now you have a bunch of things that aren't the same size. And for those of you who know statistics, the correlation coefficient basically is how similar things are. So if I have a bunch of raindrops, the correlation coefficient will be near 1. But if I have a bunch of different size objects, well, the correlation coefficient is a lot less. So when we look at this here, we look for a drop in the correlation coefficient. So basically, we're looking for things like debris or leaves or, that kind of stuff, which the radar will pick up, especially if it gets lofted, a few thousand feet up here. Let's see, are they still tagging this? No. Okay, so it looks like the rotation signature is no longer there. And again, I'm trying to take a little bit of a look here. Again, we saw that rotation right down around the Luzerne area, Blairstown, I guess. It's very difficult to tell here on this particular radar scan, but typically when we do see what we've been looking for is kind of a drop off, in almost a circular shape. Again, debris, but like I said, it's a little tricky to see it here on this particular scan. It might just be because we're far away. It might not have been a strong tornado. But there was certainly some rotation there, and again, they had this thing last, before the recent update came out. They did have it as it was a confirmed tornado here, so we'll have to keep an eye on that and see. Maybe tomorrow when we'll have our weather chat, we'll take a little bit of a look at what exactly happened there. That's pretty cool. All righty, everyone. So that is kind of a look at what's going on right now. Again, we'll keep some of these scattered showers and thunderstorms around, especially across the central part and northern part of the U.S. as we go through the weekend, courtesy of that upper level low. Frontal boundary just kind of chilling out there north there. A lot of that precip is on the northern side of that frontal boundary. And, of course, we have ourselves Tropical Storm Ophelia. I hope you'll have a good rest of your evening, everyone. It's Friday, so we won't make this one too long. I'll see you back here tomorrow evening or tomorrow afternoon, depending upon how the weather is. And for tomorrow's weather chat with Timmy. Take care, everyone.